What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So we got some truly breaking news right now regarding your man's Anthony JOSUHA, who has now broken his silence on Meltdown Gate, aka Tweak Gate, aka Bug Out Gate. 100%. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. 2022 was fixed. I'm going to be truly honest with you, man. Yeah, 2022, I thought Will Smith had the 2022 Bug Out Awards sewn up. I just did. That's me. I'm sorry. You might know what I'm like when it comes to sports gambling. Always getting it wrong. Yeah? So like I said, back in May, when Will Smith bugged out, I thought, listen, no one going to come close to what Will Smith has managed to achieve in the year of 2022. Yeah, he got that 2022 Bug Out of the Year award sewn up. Yeah, if not Bug Out of the Decade, 100%. Back in May, people were talking about Will Smith achieving the Bug Out of the Decade award. That's not something we throw around easy, people. Yeah, the Bug Out of the Decade award is something that comes around once every 10 years. People think the Olympics is highly revered. Yeah, that's 4 years. The Bug Out of the Decade award, Will Smith, everyone had him. Bookies had him 10-1 favourite. 2-2s. Anthony JOSUHA comes along. Yeah? He said, listen, Will Smith, sit down somewhere. Yeah? Will Smith, sit down somewhere. I got this one. And now, it went from Will Smith 10-1 favourite right now for the Bug Out of the Decade. Bug Out of the Decade award. It's a 50-50 right now. Is it Will Smith? I mean, depends what you like. Some people like the slap. Other people like taking another man's belts and dashing them in the bin. Do you know what I'm saying? Them ones there. Yeah? 100%. Some people like the bit where AJ was about to start fighting some old Donnie in the backstage. You know what I'm saying? So, again, just depends what you like. Anywho, end of the day, Mr. Anthony Bug Out Ewer. Yeah? Mr. Anthony Tweak Out Ewer has broken his silence. He's finally found the words to try and address what happened at the weekend. His meltdown. Now, before we go into his actual statement, I do also want to say that I find it quite funny that, guess what? And this show, I've got more videos coming soon, you best believe it. Much more videos coming soon. That's what you best believe, 100%. But guess what? The media, there's a reason, yeah, Anthony JOSUHA has to address what his meltdown on Twitter, because not one of the media in the post-fight press conference had the backbone to pull him there and then. He should have been statement on Twitter days later. He should have been pulled there and then at the post-fight press conference. Did you man miss that one? Not one of the zesty interviewers or not one of the press guys said to AJ, what happened there? Why was you bugging out? Not one. Instead, they said things like, oh, AJ, you've redeemed yourself. That was an amazing performance. You can hold your head high. What? Just weird ass dudes. AJ put in a below average performance in my book. He had one good round where he established any kind of dominance for a man who's 25 pounds heavier. Yeah? Bivol, 7 pounds heavier, 5 pounds heavier, dominate or establish dominance really off the rip. Certainly for the last 10 rounds, dominance established. AJ managed to establish dominance in one round, and really, when you actually weigh the evidence, you can't even count round 9 as a round he established dominance in, because that round ended up being his ultimate undoing. Yeah? You can't say, oh well, YB, he was dominant in round 9, when round 9 caused round 10, 11 and 12 to be in the toilet. And you was nearly knocked out. Big facts. If USYK was more aggressive, Johnston would have been called out. Big facts. Anyway, let's get to it then. What did Mr. Anthony Bug Out Ewer have to say about his little performance? I wish Alexander USYK continued success in your quest for greatness. You are a class act, champ. Yesterday, I had to mentally take myself into a dark place to compete for the championship belts. I had 2 fights, one with USYK and one with my own Barnet, and both got the better of me. AJ's only gone and lost his Barnet, ain't he? Okay, now. Lost his head. Here we go. Second statement. I'll be the first to admit I let myself down. I bugged out of pure passion and emotion. And when not controlled, it ain't great. Listen, you got that right. Bugging out in front of millions of people ain't great. Especially when AJ's held himself. Now, people like Eddie Hearn will say things like, oh, AJ wasn't the one who said he wants to be an ambassador. Quick, cut the cap. Yeah, you man have been slagging Tyson Fury off, and I ain't got a problem with that. Yeah, if you want to be Mr. I'm a idol, or Mr. Everyone look up to me, that's fine, but know your lane. Yeah? If that's your lane, let that be your lane. Tyson Fury has chosen his lane to be super duper messy with it. Yeah? Your lane, which you chose, no one didn't make you do that. Let's get something straight here. Eddie Hearn says, oh well, AJ for so long has had to fit in a box. No, he chose to fit in a box. He's a big back man, big hard back man. I've been saying for a long time. Why doesn't AJ say, you know what, I've made enough money now, I want to be myself? He could have been said that 5 years ago. He chose to be a corporate topper. No one loves the top corporations more than AJ, and that's on him. So in the same breath, when someone who loves to suck corporations off ends up bugging out, that's a problem. So we can't confuse the two. Oh, well, YB, Tyson Fury does things that are similar. Tyson Fury isn't someone, for the most part, who sucks corporations off. That's the problem here. If AJ was that guy who just, listen people, that's AJ. You know what he's like. But the fact that AJ's and Eddie Hearn have pranced around the place, trying to make out they're holier than thou, which is fine to do, as long as you maintain your holier than thou-ness. Now it's all half come undone. And what gets me the most is the fact that really, AJ only became unhinged the minute he started losing. It's like, again, it shows you the guy's got no character. Because surely we can all have great quotes. We can all have great things to say when we're winning. Who can't do that? We can all be a great inspiration. We can all be great idols when we're winning. It's really quite hard actually to be a bad person when you're winning. Yeah? The true test is, what is your character when you are losing? And we found out AJ's all fake. Because the minute he started losing, all that bullshit went out the window. All that sucking off people went out the window. It's like, what was the point in that? You might as well have been gully from the jump. And that's what I've been saying for a long time. What's the point? And let's not forget, people, half the reason AJ lost his belts was because he spent so much time trying to be, oh, my name's AJ, and it's the AJ versus USYK one fight. Let me take a picture of USYK. Let me give USYK my belts. Just doing a whole bunch of weird shit that didn't need to be done. But you were so busy trying to prove your name is Mr. Mandela Gandhi Johnston, rather than focusing on, you know what, I'm here to push wigs back. If people want to take some inspiration from that, great, but I ain't going to go too weird with it. Instead, you was too focused on, oh, well, I'm meant to be focusing on pushing wigs back, but instead of doing that, I'm going to show how holy I am. Oh, look, USYK, have my belts, and it's weird shit, proper weird. And now, you ain't got no belts, oops. And now, you're all mad and bent out of shape. Well, you should have been bent out of shape off the rip. You should have been feeling the way you're feeling now, off the rip, eternally. Got no one to blame but yourself. You was the one trying to be something you weren't. At this point, I'm not even sure what AJ really is. I'm not even sure he knows what he is. Messy. I'll be the first to admit I let myself down. I acted out of pure passion. That's cap. Yeah? Because you only acted out of pure passion and emotion when the fight was over. And you only acted not controlled when the fight was over. Us man was begging for you to be not controlled. Us man was begging for you to put some pure passion in. We was begging for some pure emotion. We didn't get none. Apart from round 9, which I've already explained, don't count. Because it's no good, oh well, round 9 was great, but that round 9 led to round 10, 11, 12 being shite, so don't count. Round 9 was supposed to be the start of the end for USYK, not the end of AJ, isn't it? Let's be real now. Up until round 9, in my opinion, the fight was 50-50. Round 9 ended up being the end of AJ's fight. Innit? That was God's honest truth. AJ's fight ended at the end of round 9. He did nothing else for the next 3 rounds. Yeah, so where are they doing that? I love this sport so much, and I'll be better from this. Oh, come on, man. I love this sport so much, and I'm so young and still learning. Oh my God. I'm only 35 years old. I'm still learning, people. Eddie Hearn. Well, he's only been doing this 20 years. What the fuck? What do you mean? You can't. I'm sorry, Eddie. Yeah, you can't say someone's only been doing this 20 years. That don't sound right. To say someone's only been doing something, that's when it's like 6 months. Oh well, YB, he's only been doing it 6 months. You can't say he's only been doing it 15 years. Fucking hell. Proper starting to piss me off right now. Sick of all the narratives. All of a sudden, I've got another video coming soon. All of a sudden, Eddie Hearn out here now. No joke. He out here saying, oh well, AJ's kind of feeling. AJ doesn't really feel the belts anymore. Well, you ain't got the belts anymore, so that's convenient, isn't it? For years, you sucked the belts off. Now you ain't got no belts. Allegedly, we're supposed to believe that all of a sudden you're over them. Oh well, AJ was feeling disillusioned with the belts. Well, you weren't, because you ain't got none. You can't feel disillusioned about something you ain't got. Oops. And for 10 years you've sucked the belts off, and now you're trying to tell me it's a pure coincidence that you've had this epiphany that you don't want the belts when you ain't got no belts. Where was that feeling? And I was one of the key guys, maybe the only guy saying AJ needs to drop the belts and do his own thing. Especially with the USYK situation. Not to duck USYK, but weird politics that was going on. Joyce was ordered to fight USYK first. AJ should have enforced that. Instead, he low IQ, his team's shite, and history is what it is now. Yeah? USYK really came up and done nothing to earn his shot. As it happens, he beat AJ anyway, but the point is, everyone's supposed to earn their shot. USYK was ordered to fight Joyce. He weaseled out of that fight. AJ and his team, too low IQ. They just take anything they're given. Who does that? How can you be the A side and you're just taking what you're given? It's really weird. Anyway, your AJ's low IQ team has now got him. AJ's whole legacy is over now, people. You can forget about all-time greatness, because you got beat by not only a small man, but a man who really is unproven at heavyweight. And to be quite frank, if what I see is correct, Fury will stop USYK. And that makes it even worse. AJ got schooled by a man who Fury stops. Oops. There's nothing great about that. Yeah? So your legacy's over. You've been beat by the same man twice, which really all the greats, that never happened. Lennox Lewis, he fixed all of his losses. Yeah? I've got people telling me YB, he improved and he just needs to get the third USYK for. Come on, man. There's something wrong with you, man. Honestly. It's really weird. Really odd. Anyway. I had to take yesterday, I had to mentally take myself into a diet. AJ says all the right things, yeah? But it's all woof. Yeah? Listen. When you take yourself to a mentally hard place, yeah, people see that. You don't need to say it. I said it the other day. Yeah? When Dons talk about how long their wicks are, I've got a big 10-incher. Yeah? More time, they got a wiener most of the time. 9 times out of 10. So it's the Dons who don't talk about their ting. They're the ones who are carrying proper weapons. Yeah? 100%. Dons who carry real damage in their pants ain't talking about it. Yeah? It's always the cats that are mouthing off. They're the ones with the wieners. Big facts. And that's the truth. Look at history, yeah? Look at all the actual great performances. Who was it? Was it Fraser versus Ali? 15-round fight. Both men couldn't even stand up after the fight. Never mind kick off. Yeah? Boom. Did you hear, after that fight, do you hear their man saying, oh, I mentally had to take myself into a dark place? No, they just did it. There's doers and then there's talkers. AJ is a talker. Yeah? Because if you'd have taken yourself there, you'd have been there. You wouldn't need to explain. Everyone would know. And really, for the most part, even look at Wilder. I don't remember him saying, oh, I had to take myself to a dark. No, you do it. Or you don't. And AJ didn't. But rather than live with himself and say, you know what? I ain't got it like that. I haven't got that all-time great grit. He's still trying to convince people. I did videos 6 months ago about this. AJ was putting out advertisements with Under Armour, and it was showing him being a warrior. Oh, push through, and all these weird quotes. Push through to the very last. You know what I mean? To the bitter end. All this kind of weird stuff. Like, no, that ain't you, bro. You didn't push through to the bitter end in the first fight, or the second fight, to be quite frank. AJ got tired at the weekend and rolled over. That's the story of the weekend. When historically speaking, we've seen Ali tired. And even to be quite frank, even George Foreman. Even when George Foreman lost against Ali, he went out on his back, didn't he? He blew his load. That's what I call blowing your load. Yeah? George Foreman shows how you actually go out. George Foreman pummeled Ali, ran out of gas, properly ran out of gas, and went out on his back. You can't really argue with that, can you? Well, YB, he blew his load, that was it. AJ, on the other hand, oh, YB, you can tell AJ was really tired, can you? Why did he not go out swinging? If he was that tired, he can do what George Foreman did. He can do what Anthony Yard did. I've criticised Anthony Yard, but when I think about it, at least he went out on his back. That's the ultimate, isn't it? We can all try and think about self-preservation. Oh, well, I'm a bit tired here, so let me just try and negotiate the fight and try and survive on my feet. So I can say that at least I wasn't stopped, but that don't prove nothing. When a man chooses to go out flat on his back, that's how you know he went all in. He wasn't interested in self-preservation. He wasn't interested in trying to maintain this false bravado of, oh, well, I didn't get put down. Getting put down is what a man does when he's desperate to win. All else has failed and you're just finished. What can you do? You're finished. That's respectable. That's greatness. You put one round in and then nibble around. Then after the fight, you're woofing off and trying to kick off. And then after the fight, you're tweeting about, oh, well, I had to take myself to a dark place. When? Because all we saw was you put a bit of effort in and then you stopped trying. As if you were saving your gas tank for something. Like, what the fuck? Innit? You put a good shift in round 9 and then the next 3 rounds, you did nothing. It's like, and then after the fight, in fact, you was already making excuses. Oh, well, I'm not a 14-stone fighter. Like, what? What? No one asked for you to be a 14-stone fighter. Honestly, I was shocked. AJ's the first man I've ever heard in the history of boxing to use his weight as an excuse. Normally, fighters are begging to have a weight advantage. They love the weight advantage. AJ's the first guy to complain about having a weight advantage. I've never heard of that one. Anyway, man, this guy's a clown. Get this dusty, have-a-nice guy out of my face, man. I ain't trying to hear no more from this guy. Big facts.